Hello everyone. I want to make a commentary about this clip, and I think it is important for many reasons that Jason Turner has an excellent series about C++. It is episode 400. C++ is at age 40. I am at age 40 for what it matters. And the question Jason wants to answer is that is C++ dying? And first of all, I want to say, if you are into C++ world and you don't follow Jason, you make a mistake. Please do. This taken away, let's go into his meat of the argument. I will skip about this discussion about is C++ dying and which arguments are used, but I will want to go through his arguments. So, and what is his argument initially, and this is the meat, what I will comment, is that many applications are C++. Photoshop is Office, LibreOffice, which is also Office, your browser, if even some new open source project, Ladybird or Serenity OS initially, when they had a browser, they wrote it in C++, and GCC, the optimizer in it, LLVM, if I remember right, game engines, all game engines. It's not like, and I want to say that on the first glance, I hope I didn't miss anything. Yes, so till here. So he goes, look, all these applications are written in C++. Then I think he said in which fields he does training and he works there, but I want to say that the list is even more, like if you need to write drivers into kernel, you'll need some C or C++. I think this is reasonable, for example. So I want to say clearly that C++ is used almost everywhere. But the question which I want for Jason or whoever listens, but if you are Jason, thank you for watching me, is this. I think you got that, yes, it's there, but it's in a way why I think people could say it's dying. And to be very clear, I'm not saying because I want you to fail. I really think this is not what we talk. We talk really as adults, what is the data which you have. And one part which I want to take it into perspective. So today this is kind of the perspective, at least with one statistics, like how many developers are in which language. And I understand the statistics is very imperfect, just to put it right away. But you see, right now, C++, it is more or less C# level in developers. And I know JetBrains has a bit different numbers when you show your statistics, but I want to say, imagine that C# and C++ with all these fields, they are similar, but C++ at least started, and I will not put also C, 15 years earlier. And but you'll say, look, this is fine, but let's go, let's say like 1995, before even Java was made. So this is 89. Let me go to 1995. So here what it was C++, it was 13 million to almost 14 million developers, and it was bigger, if I counted correctly, than all the other languages combined. And you can see Pascal is there, assembler is there, and you could say, for example, assembler is dead, I would say, even though around 1.3 million developers, I don't know again how the statistics was made, it was there. And let me put it clear, if you look, for example, somewhere in the past 1980s, Pascal, for example, was the winning language. And we will agree, I think, that you could say sorry, Pascal is dead, even though I have on my desktop here double commander, and this double commander in particular is written in Pascal. You understand? Or total commander or whatever. So this is one part. The other part is that, look, your IDE is in C++, and I would not want to argue, look, the designer in Visual Studio is written in C# or something like that. but let's take it as C++, everything. So most people would agree that Android Studio is mostly Java. Eclipse is mostly Java, though it has the toolkit implemented natively. NetBeans, it's mostly Java. PyCharm is Java. This is JavaScript, Java, C++, C++, JavaScript, C++. I think this is C. Again, this is C#, Java, and Java. So I think 2/3 of IDEs, at least as numbers and maybe even as popularity, are Java or C# or JavaScript, because VS Code, it's also very big. So this is a secondary part. And I think also, if you look, the trend which I'm seeing is that many people, many projects, even like OpenJDK, they take some C++ code and try to rewrite it. So for example, you talk that JDK has this quite consistent, let's say 20-21% C++, but the trend, and this is public, and many years ago it was public, the trend is to move this implementation to this one, and this one, at least the optimizer, so only the C++ part, a good part would be written in Java. You can look for Project Metropolis if you are curious. It still has some C, kind of 4%, but it's not 20%. So this is the optimizer. That big slice of, let's say 20%, will be split at least in two, and it will be just 10% of glue, basically, because most of the more complicated optimization and stuff will be written in Java. And this trend, you'll see it forever and ever. Like I will take other similar part, and this is because I work with C#, not this one. Yeah, so if you look for .NET, which you just pointed out, so these are the most pinned projects, but these are typically the most active too, like projects. Or maybe, for example, SDK is not pinned, but you will see like 96% is C#. But let's take all these projects. So this is Roslyn, is the C# compiler. Initially it was written in C++. I'm not sure if you know, but it was rewritten in C#. And this is because, in fact, Mono, other project, did it. And again, this is mostly C# and Visual Basic, because these are compiled for C# and Visual Basic. And it has some CMake. I don't know why it's 0%, but in general, all the C++ was removed basically to become C#. Similarly, the runtime, it has combined around 20%, but this is the runtime with the JIT. It's not on top of this JIT you add the SDK, which I showed to you before, or you add the ASP.NET Core, which again is 91% C++ and just 2% C#, and 2% it's C++. Even for the toolkits that they have to use a lot of UI, because this WPF works with DirectX, and it's some parts you have to go native to say so. Again, even these low-level parts are 70%, but not they never dominate the code base. And this is even worse for WinForms, which is the wrapper over the Windows API, old style, 95-ish style of coding. So I think you get the gist. And I wrote, and so these are my notes, and I want you to take some also feedback. Like, we can agree that, for example, Unity is written in C++, even very low level, even shaders and stuff like that. But most developers, if you say I want to make a game, if you know C#, you're fine, very well. Like, you don't care. Like, even Python is written in C and you don't know C. If you know Python, you're fine. And also, you say the databases are in C++. I would say sometimes you are technically not correct. Like, many node NoSQL databases are, or important ones, are written in non C++ languages like Apache Cassandra. But I understand this is not your field, and I'm not criticizing you for this. But in fact, when working with database, it's like working with operating systems, let's say. So no one writes, I never seen it in the last 10 years, someone saying I will work with a database in C++. It's not that you can't do it, obviously you can. Also, the Office suites, I think you've seen at least Google Docs and Office Online. I use, and you could see somewhere, probably a PowerPoint. I have PowerPoint, Microsoft one, but most people in my company use Google Docs or Office Online. I was writing to you about GraalVM. Also, very often the companies, they just write a very small part in C++, let's say libuv, if you heard about it. It's used in .NET Core, it's in the C library, but all the hand-tune optimizations, maybe minus some Unix layer, are written in C# today, quite often. And again, this is my experience. I've seen very often people, if they can, they will drop C++ and they will rewrite it, let's say, with their toy. And I did it too. So I had some code base in my company I'm working even right now from C++ to C#. Not because I'm hating C++, which I do somewhat, but also because if you add many things which C# brings, you would simply iterate and finish faster the requirements which I had to do. And I didn't notice too often that more than C++ of the code, 5% of that code base to be 5%, maybe 6. Yeah, so this is my experience. And you made a commentary about the numbers, which I think they were quite accurate, and I've seen it. And what I mean is that, let me show your numbers, which you put, and I not this one, but this one of Anastasia. So what is the graph? So you see C# it's higher, but this is not the part which I want to show. But Go is that simple language, high performance, very fast bootstrap, and this is also my company was using Go. They try right now to switch to Rust because Rust is much, everyone speaks about it, but they typically eat out of the C++ code bases, at least in places where I've seen it. And this is why I think it looks like it's dying. Thank you, everyone, and see you next time. Bye.